Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to KlimatX's channel, a carbon exploration company that can access and develop the highest quality forestry and marine carbon sequestration projects. Joining us to discuss, James, some recent big news, the Chief Executive Officer. First and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to get you on. So I'm going to dive right into this. As KlimatX finalized commercial terms for the Sierra Leone pre-purchase agreement with a Fortune 100 company that will cover the remaining capital cost of the first 5,000 hectares. For newer audiences, do you want to break down this project and exactly what this news means?
Yeah, certainly. So our project in Sierra Leone has been operating now for a couple of years. We've secured close to 60,000 hectares of land, which is 60,000 soccer fields, just to put that into context. And we've done so far about 400 hectares of planting with 1,000 hectares scheduled for this summer. To validate the project, you have to go through and do a bunch of scientific work to show how fast the trees are going to grow, because every cubic meter of wood is a proportionate amount of carbon. So we've done all of that work. And then we've gone out early on, starting late last year, but early into this year, to find buyers to pre-purchase those credits. So before they've been produced by the trees growing, we were looking for buyers who would pay for the tons in advance effectively. So for a small company working alongside large Fortune 100 companies and big trading houses like Trafigura and Mercuria, this was a key strategy for us, so we can take all of the risk out of the rest of our replanting. And so we carved up the project into blocks, and we sold the first 5,000 hectares. The market is very, very short on supply at the moment, so we had 16 different groups reviewing it in the data room, and we've been able to secure now the first offtake agreement. So they pay the remainder of the capex on the project, the remaining $2.5 million to plant the first 5,000. They then have an option to plant the balance of the 20,000 of the first 25,000 that we've laid out, and then we repay them in tons when those tons are produced. And as those tons are produced, we send them over to the buyer. That's probably about 10% of the tons that we produce. The 90% of the tons they want to buy from the first 5,000 hectares at a small discount to the premium market price. So basically, we've been able to develop the project to this stage and pre-sell it to one of the largest buyers in the world.
Yeah, this sounds incredibly pivotal, and I feel like 2023 is going to be a big year for KlimatX. I mean, you guys are, pioneers in building carbon credits that are ethical, verified, and attractive to these kind of large businesses. Can you kind of expand on what your mission is kind of moving forward here for the latter half of the year?
Fundamentally, if you want to prevent deforestation and restore some of these areas in developing countries, you have to tackle issues that are driving deforestation. You have to deal with poverty. You have to give people alternatives to cutting down trees as their prime source of income. So we see that as a pragmatic step, but also really important for making sure that when we tackle climate change, we also provide the best opportunities for people in some of the poorest countries in the world. So that's always been the center of our plan. That's why we consider ourselves an impact and ESG company as a listed stock. The balance of our year is replicating that model that we've just announced with expanded areas. So we've got 60,000 hectares of forest, another 32,000 hectares we can pre-sell. We've got a large mangrove development project in Sierra Leone, both conservation and restoration, same kind of model. We're expanding into neighboring countries around Sierra Leone and West Africa, where the conditions are very similar. We'll launch our project in Yucatan, which is in an area of degraded mangrove forest that's got huge potential for restoration, lots of local employment creation, biodiversity protection and restoration. And then in Suriname, we just finished field work looking at an area initially of about 3,000 hectares, but expandable to 30 to 50,000 hectares. So in each of those jurisdictions, the idea is we use our equity to de-risk those projects. And rather than take on the full cost of those within a small pubco and all the market risk, we go and find pre-purchasers and buyers as partners, basically, to ensure we can develop, under a 20-year contract, all of the details of those, all of the details of the project implementation.
Well, I definitely appreciate these insights, and I'll pass the question out to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think about all this in that comment section below, and definitely consider subscribing, because as news continues to hit the wire and these catalysts come into play, we'll continue to update you here. But on that, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.
Thanks so much.